You might be looking into a Chapter 7 bankruptcy and see something about the bankruptcy means test in order to qualify. And you open the government website covering the Chapter 7 means test, and it may leave you quite a bit confused. So what is the Chapter 7 means test, and how exactly do you pass it in order to qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? We'll cover that and a lot more, so let's get started. Welcome to the Ascend Finance YouTube channel, where we cover topics such as Chapter 7 bankruptcy and help you understand the costs, pros and cons, etc., to help you make the most informed decision to get out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. My name is Ben, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Ascend Finance. So we're going to cover the Chapter 7 means test calculator today and go right into the details, but this video is a bit long and I apologize in advance. But what we did was we included chapters in the description below so you can kind of skip in and out of whatever is most interesting and helpful for you. In this video, we'll talk about what exactly goes into the bankruptcy means test. We will walk through and actually take the Chapter 7 means test calculator together. Next, we're gonna talk about how to understand your results, compare cost, time, pros and cons, etc. And then finally, we're gonna talk about next steps, what you can do with all this information. So let's get started. So what is the bankruptcy means test? The Chapter 7 bankruptcy means test is a two-part test that helps the courts determine whether you are eligible to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And just for your reference, Chapter 7 bankruptcy is often the cheapest and fastest form of debt relief. It can get you out of your debt in as little as 90 to 120 days, specifically unsecured debt. So the bankruptcy means test uses your gross income, meaning your income before taxes. And like I said, there's two parts of the Chapter 7 means test. The first part compares your income that you receive to a median income set for your state. The second part is if your income is above that median, the second part will look at your actual expenses to determine whether you still may be able to qualify for a Chapter 7 even though you're above the median income guidelines. So the gross income used is an average income for the past 6 months, and then you take that gross average income for 6 months and multiply it by 2 to project how much you're gonna make annually, and then you can compare it to the median for your state. Now, it's important to note that only the gross income of the last 6 months is used. So even if you look made substantially more or less beyond that 6 months period, the means test only takes that 6 months, the last 6 months. We're gonna cover all of this in the Chapter 7 means test calculator below and go through it together, but I just wanna kind of give you a sense of how the bankruptcy means test works. So once you get your annual gross income, you're gonna compare that to the median income set by your state. Specifically, it updates every about 6 months or so. And then that will help you. If you're below that amount, you may pass. And if you're above that amount, you may not pass. Now, I say may because there are some nuances that a bankruptcy attorney can help you understand whether you would qualify or not. Now, if your gross income is higher than the median, then you may want to go to the second part of the means test. And the second part of the means test actually takes your expenses like your car loan or house payments to see if you don't have any disposable income to pay off some of your debt. And that once your kind of gross income is adjusted, then you wouldn't be able to afford any of the debt and that you'd be able to qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, it's important to note that typically, we may not see people qualify if the gross income is more than $20,000 over the median of the state, but it is dependent. There may be times where that could be higher or lower. If your income, though, is substantially higher than the median for your state, and maybe you don't qualify for Chapter 7, you may look at other options such as debt payoff planning, not-profit credit counseling, debt negotiation Chapter 13. Thankfully, we are going to actually cover that in the Chapter 7 calculator below, where we're gonna take and that you can actually compare all those different options and the costs of those options. So let's kind of just jump right into the Chapter 7 calculator. So I've included a link in the description below for the Chapter 7 calculator that we've built based on the bankruptcy forms. It's 100% free and it's personalized to your zip code and state, and it doesn't require an email address. We really wanted to build you something that you could use and not feel like we're trying to sell you something, just so that you can be kind of most informed about your decision to deal with your debt and get out of the debt. We know that dealing with stress can be really stressful. So building a resource that kind of takes away the stress, gives you a little bit more clarity about your options was really important to us. All right, so let's get started and actually take the Chapter 7 calculator. You're gonna see a link in the description below. Once you click that link on the description, what you're gonna be taken to is our kind of welcome to the Chapter 7 calculator page. And what you're gonna see in this Chapter 7 calculator page, first, we're gonna go through, it kind of shows some reviews. You're just gonna go down here and click next. You can always go through new questions or go back on existing questions. So first the question is like, what is your marital filing status? So first I'm gonna go through mine, as close to as possible. So my wife and I filed together. We have 4 children. None of us in our household are over 65. And how many of your dependents, excluding your spouse, are over 18-year-olds? My oldest is 6, so I'm gonna say 0. Next is gonna ask the zip code. So we're in California, so I'm just gonna add in a zip code for Santa Clara. Next, we're gonna see how often I receive a paycheck. At Ascend, we get paid monthly, so I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put in, that we make about $5,000 per month. This is before taxes. Next, we're gonna cover spouse paycheck. My wife actually stays at home with the kids, so she is gonna put not applicable. Do I receive any other income, business, retirement? So if you have retirement, alimony, child support, income that you're making, you basically put whatever that is. I'm just gonna put no there. So if you put yes, it's gonna probably ask you, how much do you get from that monthly? So next, it's gonna ask a monthly income check. The reason we do that is because accurate income is really important to give you a sense of whether you qualify. So is your household income approximately 60,000? I'm gonna put yes. And then kind of questions to help us determine what is making you consider debt relief. So I'm gonna put in inflation, and I'm gonna say that my debt is current, but it may go past due soon. So it's kind of in that discovery stage. This question helps you determine whether you're kind of qualify for a Chapter 7. If there are time limits for when you can qualify and when you can't, I'm going to say that I have not filed a Chapter 7 in the last 6 to 8 years. And when do I want to file bankruptcy? I'm going to say within a month that I'm gearing up. I need to get rid of this debt as soon as possible. Now, because we're putting a month, if it's a year, we try to ask questions that make most sense to your situation. So if you don't want to answer these questions, you can kind of select within 1 year, but we do want to give you an all-in cost estimate for your Chapter 7 results as well. At the end of the things you can say, do I qualify? We're trying to answer that question. And we also try to answer the question of how much will it cost me? So next we're going to press okay. So these are questions about kind of your, the attorney, right? If you want to work with an attorney, or, if you want to plan to file on your own. Many people file with an attorney just because of the complexity, but some people don't. For this instance, we're going to say, I have not yet had a consultation. And these now it goes into questions such as, what are you most interested in? I'm going to probably want to pay up front. So I'm going to say that. This question, sometimes attorneys that are a little bit closer may cost a little bit more. And sometimes like the national bankruptcy firms may cost a little bit less. Preferably, I like to do things on the phone. I wouldn't want to go into an office, but a lot of people do. So that's an option for you. So I'm just going to say I have no preference of whether, if someone's close or far away. And do I have any preference on attorney's experience? Most people that file bankruptcy should know how to do it. I'm going to put I have no preference. Do you have preference on attorney rating reviews? I prefer, attorneys that maybe have 4.5 stars or above, just because, that kind of shows that they have some, customer interactions that have gone successfully personally. And then the next question is like, which of the following attributes are most important to you for your attorney? And I think for me, it's empathy and also strong rating reviews and affordability. Those are kind of the most important for me. Next, I'm going to click next. So next, the question is like, how much student debt do you have? Not all of these questions are going to play into the qualification, but all these questions, there is a purpose in mind for the questions. So how much student debt do you have? I'm going to put 20,000. How much unsecured debt we have? I'm going to put 50,000. The calculator, so for the means test, the income amounts for the means test are updated every 6 months. Our calculator has mostly always the most up-to-date information. So you can always come to our calculator and say, okay, this is how much we're going to be, how much income can I make? So it kind of gives you an updated sense. What is your current living situation? I'm going to say rent. I'm going to put my monthly living expenses at $1,500. Do you have any equity in anything? I'm going to put no. Do you have anything? Do you have any assets greater than $1,000, including stocks, individual worker accounts? I'm going to put no. I'm going to say, how many vehicles do you own? Please include your spouse vehicle. I'm going to say 0, but if you add 1 or 2, it's going to get into some of the expenses for your automobile. But just for the sake of kind of brevity, getting you guys to the results as quickly as possible, I'm going to select no or 0. Next, do you have any outstanding balance on such things as loan or jewelry? I'm going to say no. What is the amount to pay on secured assets? So like, if you have RVs or jet skis or jewelry or whatever those things are, those could be expenses that would be included in the calculation in terms of like what exactly, maybe those are the amounts that could be used for the above median calculation, depending on kind of what they are. Maybe not jewelry or RV or some basically what's the monthly amount. I'm going to put 0. Did you receive a tax, a tax refund? I'm going to put yes. Do you own any domestic support obligations such as child support and alimony? I'm going to put no. So finally, we're going to get to the last page. Would you like to compare the cost of Chapter 7 to any other debt relief options? I'm going to say yes, because sometimes if you don't qualify for Chapter 7, you're going to maybe want to look at other options. So the other options I'm going to compare them to are Chapter 13, debt settlement, debt management. Debt payoff planning may not be as applicable if you're really strapped on cash, because that's about kind of how do I prioritize my debt and pay a little bit more to get out of debt faster. So I'm just going to compare these last three options. This last question, which of the following do you prefer? So Ascend provides free kind of reviews and informational. So if you'd like that, you can just select this one and someone on our team will contact you and give you some different insights about your data, specifically completely free. And then the other one is a bankruptcy attorney contacts you and gives you a free consultation, or all of the above. I'm not really sure. I think I want a consultation with an attorney. I also may want to talk to you. So it's kind of like, I want any of those. And then none of the above is going to be those that, you just want information. And this is kind of one of the reasons why we built the calculator. We don't want you to have to ever provide information. We want to help you, and we want to help you even though, you may not want to provide anything. You might just want to see the results. So that's kind of important for us to provide that. Do you want to save this information? This will send you a copy of results. So we definitely recommend, or I think it's great if you get a copy of results just so you can save them, come back. Maybe you're going to file in 6 months. So you can come back and view these, retake some elements of the calculator to kind of be as up to date as possible. For now, I'm just going to click no just so we can see the results. And then next, we're going to see the results. Like, what is the calculation for my Chapter 7 qualification? So next, we're going to cover just kind of the results and just how this information can hopefully help you. So the top part is answering the question that we were trying to figure out at the beginning. Do I qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Now, based on the estimate, you do appear to qualify for Chapter 7. And this is what your income is $60,000. Now, the median income for California is $133,415. And this is based on filings after November 1st or 15th of 2022. That data is updated. So this calculator should have the most recent data because we are very cognizant about the updates. So you can always kind of come back here and look at the data and see, do I qualify, et cetera. Next, it's going to kind of go through the different results. So like this is the Chapter 7 cost estimate. So $1,388 to $1,538. This is the cost for a single payment. So, Chapter 7 is only generally one payment. So that's why it's kind of often less expensive than the Chapter 13. Many attorneys take payment plans. So you might look at the Chapter 13 and be like, wow, that's really cheap, but maybe not. All these are specified to your situation. So the next thing that we're going to look at is kind of the Chapter 13 debt settlement and Chapter 7. And I think debt management is right below it. So this gives you a sense of, for that $50,000 of debt that we're trying to get rid of, these are all the different costs and duration for your different options. So, and what goes into those. So like for the Chapter 7, the attorney fee is going to be maybe $1,050 to $1,200. There's an administrative fee, and that attorney fee can be very different depending on where you live, what type of expertise you have, et cetera. The next is the administrative fee and the trustee and filing fee. So that's about $313 plus the total payments that you're going to be paying towards the attorney. So that could even go up to $2,000. Really just depends, but it is a one-time payment. Next, for the Chapter 13 results, it's basically what this looks like is because I didn't put that I have a mortgage. I don't put that I have auto payment. My Chapter 13 looks like it's going to be very inexpensive, and that's because it's probably estimating that I don't have disposable income. Now, if I have a disposable income, it could be a lot more expensive, and that is why it's interesting to compare Chapter 13 to debt settlement. So those two options are there's a lot of complexity into both of them, but looking at these, you can kind of see in this situation, Chapter 13 may be quite a bit less expensive than debt settlement. In other situations that might be completely opposite. Let's say the calculation calculates that you have $5,000 a month of disposable income, even though you don't, because it's being taken all from credit cards and stuff. Then debt settlement may be a lot less expensive. So that's kind of a mix. So this basically estimates like how much they're going to settle the accounts for, and then a debt settlement company, working with to settle that account. Debt management, basically they're trying to negotiate the interest rates with your creditors versus debt settlement, which is trying to negotiate the amounts. And in debt settlement, it's basically saying, my My program fee is going to be $50. They're usually nonprofits. They're regulated about how much they can charge. And then most of the money in debt management is going to go to the creditors, because when you negotiate your interest rates, you're not going to be saving as much often as if you're negotiating amounts like debt settlement. Next, it goes through all the pros and cons of all these different options. This is an exhaustive list, but hopefully it's helpful. So different pros and cons to all these different options so that you can consider what are the pros and cons to these things. Finally, these are different options that we have that we vetted. We generally like attorneys and companies that have at least a 4.5 or higher, preferably as close to 5 as possible. So we kind of go through each of those, and then these are different things that you can send. This easy submit basically just means that you can ask for a consultation and the information is sent over to the respective party. And this is really helpful because now they get your information, they have context about your case already before you even have a consultation with them. So when you have a consultation with them, you may not have to repeat everything that you just described in this calculator. I know it's a longer calculator. So this thing can be really useful to, and it's just a free consultation with an attorney, a debt settlement company, a debt management company that can be useful to save time for both sides. Next, we like to answer all your questions. So you can call us, you can text us, you can ask us to call us, you can ask us to text us, you can ask us to email us. So you can just add a question, you can click what your preference is, and then we will try our best to get back to you as quickly as possible, usually within a couple hours, maybe if we're there, probably about 10, 15 minutes if we're there. And this is basically just saying it's an estimate. We do our best, we go off the bankruptcy forms, but at the end of the day, it's just an estimate. Wow, that was a lot. Thanks so much for sticking with me. So what's next for your situation? First, I'd love to answer all your questions, as many as we can. We don't provide legal advice because we're not attorneys, but we can provide as much information as we can possibly to make you understand all your options, the cost, the duration, etc. You can contact us via the Contact Us form and the results. You can call us, you can text us at 833-272-3631. Or if you selected anything other than none of the above, we'll definitely contact you and try to kind of give you a good sense of what your options are. Second, get free consultations to compare your options. Thankfully with debt relief options, most of the attorneys or debt management or debt settlement companies will provide free consultations. So you can look at the results, get estimates, and then get a free consultation with an attorney to see whether you qualify, to go through options. And hopefully that'll help you best understand what's best for you. We provide estimates. Hopefully they'll give you a little bit more concrete information that will be able to guide you on your way. And then finally, decide what's best for you. And hopefully ask us questions. We'd love to be there along the way. Finally, I hope this video was really helpful. If it is, please like and subscribe to see more content like this. I really enjoy making videos like this, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for watching.